When you hear the phrase amateur wrestler, it may summon to mind a scholastic setting, people clad in singlets and headgears, and that's not at all what I'm going to talk about today, as I define the difference between amateurs and professionals. I'm Mike Quackenbush. This is Till We Make It, and if you've been around longer than a cup of coffee, then you probably already know. Even within the ranks of professional wrestling, you will come across some rank amateurs. We might define the difference between professionals and amateurs like this. Professionals are consistent and they are reliable. They don't just perform when things are easy, or when their creative juices are flowing, or when they feel motivated, or when a special set of conditions are met to their satisfaction. Professionals can deliver reliably all the time. And to an extent, I am referring to what happens in the ring, but not only what happens in the ring. And here is a great example. A professional always shows up at call time. Why? Because that's when they were asked to be at work. And if you remove that for just a moment from the setting of professional wrestling out into the regular workforce, you realize what an obvious statement that is. A professional shows up to work on time, and an amateur doesn't. Professionals also reliably and consistently support the events where they are appearing. Yes, professionals realize they are a wrestling promoter too, and if you want a greater exploration of that, don't worry, I got one of those. I'm not trying to say that the amateurs can't deliver good matches. They can, but they'll do so when certain conditions are met. Like, well, my opponent is 100% healthy. That's the only time I can have a good match. Not so for a professional. A professional can have a good match reliably and consistently regardless of the conditions. Or maybe you know someone who said something to you like this: I can only have good matches when I'm at my home promotion for some reason. I feel comfortable there and then I can deliver. That's the talk of an amateur. A professional can deliver reliably regardless of the setting. And here's a way in which you might be able to start reframing that if it sounds a little like something you may have once said. There was definitely a time in my career where I felt like I could have my best performances only when I was at my home promotion. And at the time, my home promotion was called the Future Wrestling Alliance, the FWA. I wrestled there from roughly 1997 to 2000. And when I went other places, I did not feel like I could have matches of the same caliber because I was not as comfortable in that setting. And here's what it means to become a professional. Everywhere wrestling is taking place is your home court. You have home court advantage anywhere in the world of wrestling. And at first, it may not feel that way, but you're going to get over the hump of that by showing up reliably and dependably long enough that you feel comfortable no matter where that setting might be anywhere on the globe. If wrestling is happening, that's where you belong. That is your home court, and you can be comfortable there even if it is your first time working for that promotion. The key to that transformation, and the recurring theme of this entire video, no doubt, is one of consistency. You've got to show up again and again and again until you reach a comfort level where you know if wrestling is happening, that's your home court, where you know, regardless of how the conditions may change, you will deliver reliably. That is what it takes to become a professional. And I think back to the guys I used to travel with in the 90s who had a term that was clearly meant to be derogatory that they used in place of amateur. And they used to say, once a monther. If you don't know this term, this is how they meant it. They were referring to the kinds of wrestlers who wrestle just one match a month. It is always in their hometown. It is always for their home promotion in front of an audience that might be filled only with their friends and family. They have never gotten far enough out of their comfort zone to develop the rest of the skill set that makes an amateur change into a professional. And though I don't think anybody still says once a monther anymore, the idea of there being a difference between amateurs and professionals, even within the ranks of pro wrestling, is very real. There is a differentiation. And the people who start to identify themselves as being the true professionals are ultimately much more desirable and hireable by organizations of every shape and size. And it is no mystery why that is. It's because they are consistent. It is because they are reliable. They will always deliver at a certain level, regardless of what the conditions around them might be. They have enough experience that if they walk out there and find there's no tension in the ropes, they still know how to have a match. And how did they get that experience? Because they showed up consistently. What happens when a real professional turns up to discover you're going to be on with somebody that's going into the ring with all kinds of terrible injuries? An amateur would have no idea how to handle that because they lack the experience. But a true professional who shows up reliably and consistently already has the experience and knows exactly what to do, or perhaps watched my video on that topic. You may know someone whose intersections with the world of professional wrestling could best be described as inconsistent or sporadic. They're only capable of delivering at an acceptable level when all the stars happen to align. And these people are amateurs in our ranks, but any amateur can elevate their game and become a true professional by getting out there dependably and accruing a body of work, and thus experience that will help them become more and more comfortable and more dependable. Any scenario they find themselves in the whole world of wrestling, they will feel like they have the home court advantage. And when they bring that level of confidence to the game, they will present themselves in just such a way that it distinguishes them as a true professional. And if advancing your game as a professional wrestler is on the to-do list, then I know you will get value from my book, 7 Keys to Becoming a Better Performer, a book for fellow pro wrestlers, which you can find on Audible or over from the fine folks at Amazon who deliver both print copies to you or digital ones right to your mobile device.